Now, this might be the first time you've ever heard this, but you do in fact need body fat. You do need body fat. I know, it's crazy, right? Like, the idea that we would want to have some adipose tissue, some body fat, is a foreign concept for many, especially athletic people and especially athletic women. Us girls in particular have been socially conditioned since like age 6 that the less body fat, the better, no matter the cost. And now there's shit like skinny talk and like even muscle mommy, these algorithms which still tend to overly favor extremely lean body compositions certainly don't help encourage us to find body compositions that actually allow us to feel stable and perform our best. In order to counter some of that rhetoric, today I'm going to educate you on why you, an athlete, requires some amount of body fat. Now, just to get it out of the way, obviously having extremely high amounts of non-contractile tissue, which is body fat, is going to quite literally get in the way of movement efficiency. Having an extraordinarily high BMI also indicates shorter lifespans. So if you, watcher, viewer, are already throwing mental objections at what I'm saying, then this video is actually probably not for you, because you do understand that having some body fat is important and you could just click away. All right, if you're staying, let's get into it. Adipose tissue, which is body fat, helps regulate your entire brain and body, which also regulates your hunger levels. So today we're going to focus on two specific hunger hormones. It's going to be leptin and ghrelin. So your body fat produces leptin, a hormone that signals to your brain that your body has enough energy storage, fat storage, to function normally. You may have also heard that leptin is a fullness cue. This has a lot of truth to it as well, but leptin is more than just about immediate satiety and fullness. So we'll get to that shortly. This diagram right here visualizes the changes in ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone that signals for you to eat, leptin, and GLP-1 before and after a meal. So basically, ghrelin is released by the stomach when it's empty, and this stimulates your appetite, and then the levels will drop significantly after eating. GLP-1, that super fun drug that every celebrity and their mother is on, is secreted by the small intestines in response to food intake, which promotes satiety. And then you've got leptin, and leptin levels will also rise post-meal, which contributes to satiety as well. What you may not have heard is that leptin levels reflect your overall fat mass over time. This means that someone can eat plenty in a day and for many days and still have low leptin if their body fat has been too chronically low for their given activities or for their given body composition. When your body fat drops too low, we're talking weeks, months, sometimes for even years, overall leptin levels will drop. And that causes all kinds of severe psychological and physiological issues. Some of them might be periodic starve and binge cycles, eventual downregulation of your metabolism, so you're gonna be burning less calories over time. Sometimes you will have severe mood swings, you're gonna have severe sleep issues, and if you haven't noticed any of these things yet and you think that you're an exception to the rule, this is your fair warning, because no one is an exception to the rule. For women specifically, chronically low body fat also shows up in the hormonal feedback loop that governs your menstrual cycle. Losing your period as an athlete is your body telling you that it does not have enough fat reserves to sustain normal function, and this is going to directly negatively impact your training performance. If you leave this unaddressed, it will eventually lead to very low bone density, and what does low bone density do? It increases our risk for injury. There's actually a clinical term for this pattern in athletes. It's called REDS, R-E-D-S, or relative energy deficiency in sport. For men, the same chronic energy deficiency will suppress your testosterone, and this shows up as chronically low energy, poor recovery, low libido, and frankly, a training plateau that no amount of extra training volume can fix. Sorry, boys. This is to say is that if you're already very objectively lean and already training very hard, and then you also feel consistently broken down and flat, then getting even leaner is definitely not the answer for you. Number 2, your body fat is your aerobic engine's fuel reserve. In plain English, it just means that your body fat is being used most of the day to do most of your activities. Even something like a moderate effort, let's say a zone 2 run or a long bike ride or an easy training day, your body fat is what is being utilized to support those activities. Even a lean athlete is carrying tens of thousands of calories worth of fat stores. Glycogen, which is the carbohydrates that are stored in your muscle, runs out relatively quicker, hence why competitive endurance athletes will often carry around those terrible tasting gels. I think that they're gross and I don't eat them, no matter how long my run is. I just prefer some nice sugary Gatorade. If you don't believe my previous statement, then let's math it out together. 1 pound of body fat is approximately 3,500 calories. That means that a lean male athlete at 160 pounds and 10% body fat is carrying 16 pounds of fat mass. That is roughly 56,000 calories in stored fat. A lean woman, let's say 130 pounds and 16% body fat, is carrying about 20 pounds of fat mass. That's roughly 70,000 calories. Let's compare that to glycogen. Most people store around 400 to 500 grams of glycogen total. That's in your liver and in your muscles. And all of that roughly translates to about 1,600 to 2,000 calories. By the way, this is not an argument against carbs. At high intensity training, carbohydrates are fantastic. This is an argument against treating all of your body fat as like dead weight that you should be trying to eliminate. When your body fat stores are very low, your body has less to pull from to maintain your body's basic maintenance functions like reproduction and, thinking. So it will increasingly turn to muscle tissue as the energy source instead if it doesn't have any fat to pull from. And this is why extreme cuts from an already lean starting point will often result in like a softer, flatter physique rather than that harder look that some people are chasing. You will also end up losing some of the muscle that you spent all of that time building. So if that's worth it to you, I will let you make that call for yourself. Finally, and this might be the most important one, extremely low body fat all the time leads to cranky moods and low sex drives. If you're wondering how that impacts you as an athletic person, well, frankly, you're just not gonna be a very happy human being. And I just don't think that you wanna live like that. If you're so down the rabbit hole and you believe that you have to be miserable and sacrifice your happiness and what's left of your body fat in order for your athletic performance, I want you to consider 2 things. Number 1, the likelihood that you are being paid to play your sport and also watching my video is very low. That means that there is a lot more to your life than just your sport. And I'm not saying that by any means that you shouldn't take your sport seriously, but rather there's really no reason to give up all of your life's daily pleasures and the rest of your remaining body fat along with it. Number 2 is I'm just gonna assume that you want to be a lifelong athlete, and lifelong athletes are happy people. They're motivated by more than just their sport alone, and this requires them to adapt their bodies and their priorities across different seasons of life. Pulling back in training sometimes and having higher body fat and focusing on other things allows them to quite literally recover so that they can continue fresh into their next sport season. Okay, I hope that was convincing enough. Again, competition-ready leanness is a very valid but also very temporary goal for competition times. It is simply not a place for you to live in year-round if you care about like long-term performance and general happiness and like your mental well-being, okay? And I care about those things, so I hope you care about those things too. The goal for us recreational athletes is not to be as shredded as possible for a camera, but rather for you to find like a body fat range, where your brain isn't constantly fighting against you to maintain it. All right, that's it. That's all I got. If you found this helpful, please, 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 I am begging you to give it a thumbs up or leave a comment. I also have more free resources in my newsletter that I send out every single other week-ish. You can find that in the description box below. Until then, I'll see you in the next one.